what I've been doing to One Nation. I've been doing it for years, and that is my hand on their electoral throat, squeezing the preferential life out of them.
At a cafe in Canberra, the so-called preference whisperer is busy working on his long-held private mission.
You know, David, I like to think of what I do in working against One Nation as a community service. And I've been doing this community service free of charge now for about 20 years.
Glenn Druery's skill at corralling micro-party votes is legendary. He got motoring enthusiast Ricky Muir into the Senate in 2013 with a primary vote of just 0.51%. And for a fee, if they win, there's no party too niche for him. In the recent WA election, he gave the fluoride-free party a major leg up, but he draws the line at One Nation.
You ask why I do that? It's simply one word: racism.
He sees himself as a kind of white knight, working the micro-party preferences to, wherever possible, keep Pauline Hanson at bay.
Through my work, I've stopped her winning at a number of elections by simply denying preferences, putting Pauline Hanson last.
We can only go up from here.
He points to the WA poll, where One Nation was expected to win the balance of power.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Even with the damage, the electoral damage that Pauline Hanson herself had done, even with that disastrous preference deal with the Liberal Party, they could have still won 6 seats, but they didn't. They only won 3 seats. Now, denying them preferences stopped them winning those other 3 seats.
Glenn Druery says he's used the same tactics in elections going back decades.
I'm actually standing for the next federal election.
Even claiming responsibility for Pauline Hanson's unsuccessful tilt at a New South Wales Senate seat. 2013, Pauline Hanson ran in New South Wales. Did you have anything to do with that?
Yes, I did. In 2013, some of Pauline Hanson's apparatchiks approached me, and yes, I did give them advice to run in New South Wales. I felt it was safer for the community to have Pauline Hanson in New South Wales than in Queensland.
But you had a fair inkling that she wouldn't do well there?
Oh, I knew she wouldn't do well there, and that was the whole point. Where do you want to go?
All of this is just a side project for Glenn Druery. His primary job these days is as an advisor to Senator Derryn Hinch.
Derryn Hinch and Pauline Hanson join us. Good morning, Pauline.
He trades blows with the Queensland Senator each week on morning television.
When you start talking about vaccinate Australia against Muslims, that is a bloody disgrace.
I'm polling 10% in the poll, so I don't think you're even a blip on the radar, Derryn. So anyway.
11 days after One Nation's poor showing in the WA election, the party shifted its aim from Senator Hinch to his advisor, with a 9-minute tirade under parliamentary privilege in the Senate.
Mr Druery works in a minor party senator's office and at the same time advises candidates of other minor parties how to get elected to Parliament. I might be old-fashioned, but it looks like a conflict of interest to me.
There's nothing illegal in Glenn Druery's second job, and Senator Hinch doesn't have a problem with it. Lateline asked Senator Burston's office for more details, but they weren't provided.
All I would say to Senator Burston is, please come out of Coward's Castle. Face me in the real world. Don't use privilege. Don't use privilege to make up lies and mistruths and distortions. What he said was wrong, it was not appropriate, and it was the act of a coward.
If there's one thing politicians in this place obsess over more than anything else, it's One Nation. The major parties fear Pauline Hanson's gravitational force in peeling away voters who are sick of politics as usual. And the party's anti-establishment message even poses a threat for the Greens. Of course, Pauline Hanson's pulling power is greatest in her home state of Queensland, which is due to face a state election sometime next year. But against conventional wisdom, Glenn Druery believes it will be a fizzer for One Nation.
They will not win a single seat in Queensland.
Really?
They will not win anything in Queensland if, now let me clarify that, if the LNP does not preference them.
They were there with me from the very beginning.
Right now, they're not coming second anywhere in any of the seats in Queensland. They're coming third, so they need preferences from another group to win a seat. Labor won't deal with them. The Greens won't deal with them. I dare say not many minor parties will deal with them either.
As Prime Minister, John Howard took a hardline stance on Liberal preferences.
The One Nation Party should be placed last on all Liberal Party how to vote cards in Australia.
With One Nation holding 4 crucial Senate votes, Malcolm Turnbull has resisted making a similar pledge. But there's already evidence of a possible precursor to a Queensland preference deal outlined by senior One Nation advisor James Ashby in a secretly recorded conference call to Queensland candidates aired by the ABC's Four Corners program last night.
I have an agreement with the Liberal National Party. I've made one commitment to them, one agreement, and I'll be upfront with you. I've made a commitment that we will not go out there and slag them for the sake of slagging them.
Thank you.
Thanks for
A blanket LNP preference deal in Queensland, like the one in WA, is right now unthinkable. But there is still room for tactical agreements with One Nation in key seats. Whatever happens, the preference whisperer says he'll be there, using every micro-party vote he can muster against One Nation.
You know, One Nation, in my view, are a little bit like the political equivalent of the dot-com bubble that we saw, when was that, in the early 90s. And at this stage, the faster something comes up, the faster it'll come down. I would suggest that One Nation is somewhere on that plateau at the top right now, and it's all downhill from here, Pauline, I'm sorry to say.
And we did seek comment from Pauline Hanson and One Nation advisor James Ashby. They declined.